Hello, friends of the gift. I'm Heidi Shearer, and I'm here to give you a video to help you facilitate your first experience with the gift. There's 3 simple things that you need to remember, and I'm going to walk you through those almost like I would be explaining it to the group. First off, the first thing are the question cards. You'll have a die. Each player will roll the die. This particular one is a 6. Each of the categories of questions have a number. So this is category 6. I would say the gift of God himself. I would turn it over and then I would read this question out loud. And this particular question does not have an all play bar across the top, which I'll explain. So I would answer this question. Let's say someone at the table wants to add something to this question and then they have a powerful story or memory that they want to share. Then a player at the table could point and say, I want to use my one opt-in turn. And so you would use the opt-in card to opt in on this question and say, when Heidi's done, I'll opt in. And so then the other player would add their input onto it. Other question cards have an all play bar across the top. And what that means is that all of the players have the opportunity to answer that question. In the beginning with the icebreaker, we really encourage everybody to answer the first couple of questions. And then after that, it just plays out that whoever wants to add to that particular question on all play, that would be appropriate. So we have some additional cards. So number 2 are the participant cards. I just mentioned to you how you would use the opt-in card. They would be able to opt in on a non-all play. There's also a lifeline card. And that lifeline card would be for somebody who got a question. Let's say I got this question and for some reason I didn't feel comfortable answering it or I needed help answering it. I could say, I'm going to use a lifeline. Could somebody help me with this? Or I'm not quite understanding what it's asking. Or you could ask somebody else to answer that question. There's also a pause and pray card. And that card is used for when there may come a time and a point in our time together where you sense that we should pause and pray. If that's you, you could say, I'd like to pause and pray for this person and the situation. If you feel comfortable leading that prayer, go ahead. Otherwise, you could ask someone else in the group to pray if you're not comfortable doing so. And then the last participant card on the table is what we call a technical card. We're asking that this be a technology-free experience. So if anybody's on their phone, we can call a technical. You flip it over, and inside this circle, it also says no sarcasm, no technology, and no unkind words. So we want this environment and this table to be a safe place for everyone involved. In front of your place as a participant, you would have 10 thanks for sharing cards. And these cards are used for a time in the experience where somebody answers a question, shares something that's very dear to them and it's very precious, and you would like to say, thank you for sharing. That really meant a lot to me. How you'll find this will play out is that sometimes one person will get just one card, and there are times that everybody gives that person a card. As the facilitator, you might be the first person to initiate using these cards. And when you have them in front of you, they're white. And when you give them to somebody else, you flip them over to the blue side. That way a participant knows these are the cards I've received. These are the cards I still get to give away. The final participant card is what we call our takeaway card. And this is just a card that we'll use at the end of our time together. But during our time together, people can jot down a scripture or something on the back of their card. And at the very end, they'll jot down one of their takeaways from our time together. So that was the first one was the question cards. Number 2 are the participant cards. And number 3 is the icebreaker card. Once you explain the instructions to everyone, you would pause and you would say, we're about ready to get started. I'm going to go ahead and pray for our time together. I just pray a simple prayer, just thanking God for the people who are around the table and just entrusting the time to him and asking that he would lead what he knows we need to. You are all mature enough to know what to pray, but it's just something very simple, inviting God to take over our time and lead it to how he knows. And trust me, he does control this die, and I have watched it create such a unique experience every time. So number 3, icebreaker and prayer. So I pray, You as the facilitator would pray, and then for the person on your right, you would give them the first icebreaker card, and you'll see it's an all play. This player will read it. Everyone will start to answer that question, and then you'll give the icebreaker card to the second person. It just really softens and prepares the environment for the rest of our evening together. And then the third person you would give the die to, and they start rolling. You can do this experience for whatever time period you set. It could be an hour. We would recommend no shorter than 60 minutes. You might want to go up to 90 minutes in your time together. When you are approaching the end of the time you agreed upon to share, you would say, okay, it's time to do our final card, which is the gift of impact. So you would give this card to the person who is going to roll next. They will read it. It's an all play. As we close our time together, reference your takeaway card from the gift experience. What is one thing you learned, a gift you received, or something you will think about or do differently, and then share it with the group. So this is an opportunity for people to take their card. You give about 2 minutes for people to jot down something that they remember from their time, and then they have the opportunity to go around and share what their takeaway was from the gift. I just want to encourage you. There are cards in your box. The layout is here. There are pictures on this page for you to look at the layout. There's a picture of what should be at your place, pictures of what should be at the participant's place, and trust the process. I promise you, I've done this probably over 100 sometimes now, and it's very powerful. I'd love to hear your stories. Please share them with me.